Now, earlier today, Time announced its Person of the Year. So, who's the Person of the Year? Is Donald Trump? Nope, not this year. It is actually the SilenceBreakers. Now, these are, of course, the men and women, mostly women, who risk their careers to speak up about sexual harassment in the workplace. Now, that announcement stirred up some very, very angry Twitter trolls who think that women that are being harassed should just shut the fuck up. Now, I want to read some of those angry tweets for you guys, and before I let Ron jump in here with his opinion, there was somebody that said, and this is in response to the Fox News article, so you know it's going to be great. You know it's going to be full of lots of understanding people who are just looking out for women's best interests. Now, this is a tweet. Women are going to pay for this. Oh boy, that sounds fantastic. You can't prosecute from the past. You need to say this time forward, this behavior is unacceptable, and don't wait 20, 30, 40 years later. Stand your ground and have witnesses. Okay, I lied. Ron, I want to bring you in after I say this. You know the reason that people don't speak out 20, 30, 40 years ago is because the power dynamics in play. You have people that are in positions of power where you could lose your job, where you could get harassed, ironically, just like this, for coming forward with an accusation. So it's never been easy to come out and actually say anything about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, somebody, and I forget who it was now, but somebody that was accused of something, they said something along the lines of like, well, this has become like a pandemonium. This has become like a, you know, like hinting that it was some sort of witch hunt or something like that. And no, that's not what this is. What this is this whole thing is an evolutionary step of people just saying we're not going to tolerate certain behaviors anymore that we've passively accepted for way too long. People passively accepted inappropriate behavior, and particularly at the workplace, for way too long. And now folks are finally standing up and saying no more. And that's a good thing. I mean, that really is a good thing. And you know, everybody has deserved their fair process, sure. Yeah. But, you know, I think it's overall a very positive thing that we're not taking this anymore. You know, like that this isn't the type of environment that we want to conduct ourselves in. So, yeah, I think I'm all about, like, the folks that have been outspoken about this getting their due recognition.
Absolutely. And look, it's not as if we're not worried about the possibility of false accusations. Of course, not every accusation is going to be, you know, 100% true. That's why you have to actually look at, you know, things like motives and things like that. But generally, I would say probably about 98%, 99% of people of that come out with sexual, you know, harassment and abuse allegations, I would believe them. Because there's very little reason to lie about this. And one of the red flags that you can tell false allegations is maybe the person who's doing the alleging gets something out of it. Like maybe a certain Fox News personality or a former Fox News personality who shall go unnamed. But that said, like I said, I agree with you, Ron. This is a good day. This is a good time that this is happening. These women and in some cases men deserve some, you know, deserve all the accolades and all that stuff for putting themselves on the line. I mean, it's not easy to put yourself out there and to open yourself up to abuse especially from random Twitter asshats.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and of course you kind of see, you really see the good and the bad and the ugly, because, you know, you see, I think a lot of people see what this really is, and they see that this is like, okay, we need to create a better environment for victims to come forward. We need to do a better job at this. We need to stop passively accepting stuff that we've passively accepted for way too long. But then, like, you see the, you know, of course you see the other side where you just see people saying the most horrific things on the internet, and you're just like, wow, would you Would you say this to your mom? Would you say this to your sister? Would you say this to your, girlfriend or your wife or your whatever? Like, would you do that? Because it's just repulsive on so many levels.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I don't think some of these people actually, give a fuck about what they say to people. I mean, there are those kinds
clearly,
of terrible people out there. And they're like, yeah, I would say it to my mom. I'd tell her to shut the fuck up. Well, I hope your mom slaps you.
Yeah, well.
I mean, for that.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
I feel you. No.
Now, speaking of some of these terrible responses, we're going to go on. One of them says, wow, such a high-level intelligence at Time Mag. At least it wasn't Cupcake Kaepernicky. Well, that's lovely.
Wow, that's such a high-level insult.
I know, right?
So,
wow, well done. Well done.
There was alliteration there. They're poetic.
Then another comment says, well, it figures, bunch of snowflakes and crybabies. Yeah, you crying about being sexually assaulted. How dare you cry about that, you snowflake? Really? If that's your reaction to somebody getting sexually assaulted, you're a terrible person. Another person says...
And you know what? If we're going to, the person that made that statement, I'm assuming they're a male, right?
Assuming, yes.
It was a male. Here's the thing. I think, isn't it so much more, snowflake-esque? If we want to, use those terms or whatever, isn't it so much more being a snowflake to pretend like nothing's wrong? I mean, isn't that so much more cowardly and so much more just sort of oh, well, I don't sexually harass. I don't do this. I don't notice it. It never happened to me.
Hashtag not all men.
This person that's being abused of assault has always been nice to me, so I guess nothing's there. Isn't that the ultimate wall of privilege? Isn't that the ultimate just soft, passive, not standing for anything and not giving a shit about anyone but yourself? I mean, isn't that cowardly? Isn't that being a snowflake? That's what a snowflake is.
This whole thing reminds me too of something that came out recently. There are two prominent alt-right women that are now complaining that they're getting basically bullied by alt-right misogynistic trolls. God, can't we just go out there and be ethno-nationalists without you being misogynistic? Your whole movement is not only racist, but misogynistic. And these women are complaining, and these are the women that go out there and trash, feminism. These are the same ones that are like, why are you getting after me for not staying home and having 20 children? Your entire movement, again, is based on women staying in the home and having lots and lots of white children. It's like they don't get it. They don't see it. It's not there. There's no awareness. It's amazing. Now here's another one. A person that replying to Fox News says it's more like the "oh, give me attention" movement. So there's that other criticism, oh, they're just doing it for attention. Wait, I'm sure all these women are doing it for the threats of violence, likely rape threats, and other sorts of threats that they get from these Twitter trolls and other people that are, sending them threatening emails, probably calls as well.
Yeah, I know one of the people that, and I don't know her well, but, we've met a couple times, and she was one of the people that had that was one of the accusers towards Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that about it. I had no idea until she, came out, and, I hadn't seen her in years or whatever, but she posted some of the stuff she got. And that was just, the Louis C.K. thing where he did admit to it. I mean, his apology was kind of sad, but I mean, this is someone that did admit to it. And the stuff that she got was, I mean, it was just mind-boggling.
I can imagine it's horrendous.
The death threats that she got, she was lying and this and that she got. And I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody wants that type of attention. No victim wants that type of attention. I think nobody. I mean, that claim, oh, they want attention. Like, no, that's totally not what's going on here.
Right, and that's one of the main claims that I see going on in these, in these Twitter threads. There's more, and this makes no sense. 100 years ago, it was Lenin on the cover of Time as Person of the Year. Funny how things have come full circle. Well, you know how Trump was also on the cover of Time, right?
Yeah, well, and then he got, even though he's trying to make it out like he doesn't care, like he got totally butthurt that he wasn't picked again. He's like, yeah, I don't really care about this, even though I've been tweeting about it. Like he tweeted about it, and he's like, I told him no thanks. And then like people dug out other things from his timeline where he was all like geeking out because he got it. And it's like, no, dude, you care. This is PR is what you do. It is the only tool in your cabinet.
Tool.
So there's actually a lot of tools in that cabinet, but you know what I mean. Like in his his arsenal of his person, that's pretty much all he's got. That's what he is an expert in, is PR. Mm-hmm. So yeah, of course he cares. Like of course he cares, and of course he's butthurt he didn't get picked. But you know, it would have been too obvious if they would have picked him. So
right, and do you remember the story that came out, and I think it was during the campaign, where he had a fake Time cover with him on the cover as well. And he had it for years. And it's sitting in his office.
I don't recall that, no. That's funny.
That's sad. That is so sad.
Well, I heard this story, like somebody, there was this guy I was on a show with recently, I forget his name, but he used to do some writing for SNL. And he told this story about Trump, where like Trump was like, I guess a guest or something, and Trump was like just sitting backstage, and he was just tweeting, and he was just on his phone. He was like ignoring everybody, and he just looked up, and he goes out of nowhere, and he just goes, "Well, my book reached #1. Book's #1." And, like he was looking at his phone. He's like, "Yeah, my book's #1." And then everybody was like, "Okay." And then a couple people looked it up. His book was not #1 anywhere. Like they looked at all the bestseller lists. Like his book was not even listed anywhere. And he just randomly lied to a group of random people that his book was #1.
That's
and that was like all he said. He's a
pathological liar.
Yeah, and he's like a total dictionary defined narcissist, like to the nth degree.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, more disgusting responses. One of them says, "Pound me too." That sounds horrible. This one says, "The only problem is most of these women are lying and can't prove anything." This is the Roy Moore defense, by the way. "Other than a couple perverts getting fired, not one guy has been criminally charged. LOL, bunch of BS."
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is such a thing as called statute of limitations. Just saying.
True.
I don't think he knows that. That is a thing that does exist. There are statutes of limitations that prevent people from going after people criminally after a certain amount of years. Like, if there wasn't, it's possible you could see Lee Korfman, who was the 14-year-old that was molested by Roy Moore, go after Roy Moore legally.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see that, so you have that. Again, you have that statute of limitations. That's why so many people can't come out and actually do criminal stuff. Although, I don't think in Alabama there is a statute of limitations, to be fair. So I think I was wrong on that one. There might not be a statute of limitations.
I just don't understand the cultural thing where we just where people, and I think I do have a theory on it, where people just defend the most powerful. Like they defend the person that's being accused and automatically write off the victim. Now, again, I'm not saying that people aren't due their fair process. Of course, everybody is due their fair process. Everyone deserves a fair investigation, et cetera, et cetera. But when you automatically deflect into victim shaming, when you automatically defend the most powerful. It's a weird response, and it's more common in our society than we recognize, whether it comes down to, you know, sexual assault or sexual harassment, or whether it's even just, you know, defending a CEO, Jeff Bezos, whatever the situation may be. There's this weird knee-jerk reaction in our society to kind of defend the most powerful and to kind of be in their corner. And I think it's because so many people still entertain this delusion, and this is the same reason that I think is a big reason why Donald Trump is the president. People entertain this delusion that they're going to get a seat at a club that they're never going to get a seat at. Because the system is set up against you. You're never going to get a seat at that club. You're never going to get a seat there. And sometimes, you know, just people in my daily lives, I just want to shake them down. Like, you realize they don't give a shit about you, and you're never going to be in their club. Like, you know that, right? It's just not going to happen. I know that's kind of going a little big picture with all this, and I'm kind of like blending issues a little bit. But I think they're all connected. Is what I'm saying. When you're going to talk about trolling as a response to this, they're all connected. I'm gonna, you know, somebody defends Harvey Weinstein because really they are thirsty for that type of power themselves. People are gonna defend, you know, whoever because they're thirsty for that type of power themselves. And it's very, you know, it's very self-centered, and it's very kind of a product of our predatory capitalistic society.